So, today is Valentine's Day, and I just got this stupid little project finished up. So, this is the PowerForce 6579. No, that's the wrong model number. This is the PowerForce 6594-W with some modifications to it. Now, I do still need to swap the handles between this and my other Dash W, since this one obviously has the sticker of the actual Dash W, the other one doesn't have a sticker, so I'm going to replace the two, so this one has the one without the sticker, so it's not showing the wrong vacuum on it. But this one, as you can see, has the same hose on it, but it has the 6579-3 base on it. And then I also, just for kicks and giggles, I put the separator from CleanView 2 Plus and some of the red pieces from a PowerForce Turbo 6585. So now this thing's just like some random color thingy. And yeah, so I put a good brush roll in it. So thankfully I had a really good quality brush roll that I had. And this actually was the brush roll that I took out of some other machine. I forgot which one it was, but whichever one it was the wrong brush roller for it, so it was like replaced with an older one by the previous owner, which is interesting. But yeah, so that's that. I also have, if I move this, I actually have two pre-motor filters in here, just in case, since the filtration on these machines are obviously really bad, so having that one little bit of extra protection for the motor probably is a good idea. And beyond that, it's just about what you would expect. So, give this a run. I don't get why this isn't adjusting properly. It's like not even... Is it even touching the floor? No, it's like all the way up, and it's on medium. That's really weird. Maybe that's because that high adjustment knob is probably not, since it's from a white track base, it's probably not meant to work right in a standard base. That's probably why. So I'll probably have to take the gray knob and put it back in, or take a knob from another base that's a non-white path base, because that's not even making contact. So even putting it all the way on low, it's still off the carpet. It's still not even touching the carpet, even when it's all the way down. Well, whatever. So that's something I'll have to do. But, well, still, we'll go ahead and run this even as is. Well, that was a disaster. This thing barely friggin' works. Which is odd, because when I tested it earlier, as soon as I did this whole project, I put the thing on the ground and tested it for, just a couple seconds just to see if the brush was hitting the floor, and it was. So I don't know what happened. I don't believe I'm pretty sure I put the bottom plate on all the way. That would have been odd if I hadn't. And of course everything got caught in the brush. Yeah, this is on all the way. New screws and everything. This brush is spinning just fine, although it did get the stuff wrapped around it. Not the best at resisting hair tangles. This whole thing is in. There's no issues with this. I don't understand. This is just way too far out. If I can see. Yeah, this is... Probably see if I do it like this. See, this is all the way on low. This is on low, and these wheels are still sticking out very far. And it's on the lowest setting. I put this on medium, which is what I usually use Bissell's at for this carpet. You can see that's not even on the ground. So I'm thinking that the height adjustment is from this base, but maybe replacing the knob was the issue. Maybe the knob's probably different. I didn't actually look at the knob before I put it in. I just kind of assumed it would work without actually looking at it. But I guess that's my bad, because that knob is obviously not designed for this particular base. So yeah. So it looks like what we're gonna have to do is swap the knobs on this base and see what happens. Yeah, so it should have been obvious, because obviously these are shaped completely differently. I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, so these are not interchangeable between each other. So I haven't tried the one from that Clean V2 Plus, but I would imagine that that and this red one are the same. Or at the very least, that blue one is not compatible with the gray ones. So that explains the issue. So yeah, can't swap these around, at least not. Obviously, if they're all this style base, if you're swapping it between like a bagless and a bagged to get the different colors, then that's fine. But obviously, I'm trying to put the wrong knob in from a completely different style of base is clearly not going to work. And of course, while we're here, we'll clean this off of the brush. So that works. Okay, so we can see right there, this is actually getting wrapped up. See, the problem isn't it getting wrapped around the roller, the problem is getting stuck inside the brushes. So you can see it getting all that. There we go. Now, you're technically supposed to remove this little plate to put this back in, but I just bend it, provided this is in properly. I'll just kind of bend this. It's easier to do with two hands, but you can see I just got it. So now this is gonna adjust properly. So put the plate back on and see how much of a difference it makes. Alright, so now original height adjustment is back in place. It's on the medium setting. Let's see how this does. Oh, there we go. Well, I would say that is definitely much more of a success. So, yeah. Um, this thing is up and running again because, again, I still have yet to figure out if the issue is that bass that's bad, because that's the bass from this machine, even though it has the red pedal from the turbo. I still have yet to figure out if that bass is bad, if there's like something wrong with the molding on it that I'm somehow not noticing, or if just both of the brush rolls that I tried in it were bad. Because I tried the brush roll of that Clean V2 Plus, and another brush roll I had that was a wide path brush roll, although it was shaped a bit differently. And neither of them worked great. Both of them sounded very, very bad. One of them sounded like a chainsaw. The other one sounded like a slightly less angry chainsaw. So, we can see that this... Again, I don't like to remove these things because it gets dust all over the place. But, you can see there, it got the fluff, but it got a good amount of fine dust. A good amount of static electricity, too, if I can feel that. And we can see a bunch of hair, dust, and grit. Like, these things legitimately do, these older Bissells, Honestly, the new ones too, but I haven't actually tested them side by side. I'm pretty sure these ones do perform a little bit better, but again, I haven't actually tested that. We can see some dust did get down into the section of filters already, which is annoying. But the good news is that even with those filters being plugged up, these things do still tend to last a decent amount of time as far as suction. So even when those filters are completely plugged, it usually takes like another good month or two before the machine actually like stops getting suction and starts having like a very significant drop off of airflow and cleaning performance. So, and that's when you start getting things like clogs in the hose because the air's not powerful enough to move it all the way through. But this definitely, this little thing from 2005 is still working just fine. And it did require some TLC. The spindle for the motor did have some rust on it, so I had to clean that off. I actually, even though I got a seating stone, I still have not yet polished the commutator on this machine. So the way it sounds right now, which sounds pretty much like a brand new one, or maybe not a brand new one, maybe like a slightly worn one, because it does have that, like, a lot of these Bissells when they get worn out, but the bearings are still good in them, they'll sound basically the same, but they'll just be like a little bit louder. It's hard to describe. So like instead of the sound being like it's like a little bit higher as far as volume. You know what I'm talking about if you see them like side by side, but really all Bissells are like that unless you happen to find one new in the box. You know, this sounds basically the same as even my PowerForce that I've had for the last, decade and a half. I've had that machine, and that machine sounds about as healthy as this one does, or I guess the other way around, since the bag units are usually the benchmark as far as how long these things last, because those things can last forever, other than, brush rollers occasionally going bad, or more likely pedal releases failing. The pedal release on this base is still good. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, this is the base from that 6579-3, where the motor and the cord had gotten thrown away, as well as all the screws. So this is the base from that machine, and the hose from that machine I put on one of the other 6583s. I believe the normal 6583 has that hose, but I could put that hose on here if I wanted to, but then I'd have to replace the handle as well to hold the thinner hose. And this handle, or I should say the other handle, this piece right here is snapped off. So honestly, I didn't expect this hose to fit. I expected to have to take like the busted up 6583 hose that this machine came with and put it back on here, but it actually does fit. It's a little bit firm, but it does fit, which is kind of surprising to me. So I can have the stretch hose yet still have the square base, which I didn't realize, because I know the bases on some of the other machines are a little bit different. So, but yeah.